All right, so today on the podcast, we have Danielle Fowler. She is the coordinator for recruitment and corporate outreach at MTSU. Kristen, I loved this conversation. We talked a lot about how, higher education is adapting right now with COVID, and we're talking a little bit about, how higher education is really serving adult learners that are coming back to, get their college degrees. You have some experience with the program as well, correct?
Yes, I'm personally biased. So, I'll be graduating from MTSU. So I know firsthand a lot of the things that Danielle is going to talk about, is a really great program.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. I really enjoy everything that we talk about. It also meant a lot talking to Danielle about, saying no, because I think that's a very good takeaway from 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. And also being adaptable and being able to roll with the punches sometimes. We've all learned that lesson this year.
Yeah, so without further ado, our guest today is Danielle Fowler.
Welcome, Danielle. Thank you so much, Danielle, for joining us today. Can you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me today. I'm very excited to be here. I think it's awesome that Murfreesboro Young Professionals is branching out into new ways to engage their members and community members as well. So I'm excited to be on the podcast today. Thank you for having me. My name is Danielle Fowler, and I work for Middle Tennessee State University in our online branch. And so what that means is that we have lots of different flexible degree options for working adults, for people with obligations, people outside of our immediate area here in Murfreesboro. And so we have lots of different things that we can offer those who aren't the traditional student. And so my role specifically in that area is corporate outreach and recruitment. What I do is I build relationships with businesses and companies in our area and even outside of the state to make sure that they're full-time employees, working adults have access to information on what we can offer them. And companies really love what we can offer because they're always looking to develop those employees from the inside up, move them up the ladder. And so that's what I really specialize in, is building those, bridging those gaps between workforce development and higher education.
That's awesome. And I'm very familiar with the program, and this all started kind of with Bridgestone, didn't it?
Yes. So back in 2016, Bridgestone actually came to MTSU with a request for some professional development, basically. What they had was a very aging workforce that was getting ready to retire. Lots of middle management folks who weren't going to be around much longer. And so they had all these wonderful, loyal employees who needed to learn how to lead people. And so what we developed with Bridgestone in relationship with Bridgestone is something called the Applied Leadership Program. What that is, it's a bachelor's degree program, but within that degree, we offer leadership certificates, up to 4 leadership certificates that employees, working adults, can earn along the way towards a bachelor's degree, something that they can add to their resume right away, and something that they can show for their effort, especially those who are a little bit nervous about completing that full bachelor's degree. They have some small wins along the way while actually gaining that leadership experience that they can apply right away to the workplace the very next day, after they leave the classroom. And so our applied leadership program is something I'm really excited to tell people about all the time, and we're glad to have you as a part of that program as well.
Yeah, I did 3 out of the 4 intensives, and that's really the reason why I swapped. I was already in a program at Trevecca, and then when I heard there was a leading teams course led by General Huber, I was like, oh yeah, I need in on that. And it was so much fun.
Yes.
Every intensive was amazing.
Yes. One thing about the Applied Leadership Program that you just mentioned, General Keith Huber is one of the faculty members, which is amazing. And the reason that is because we have, it's a very interdepartmental, interdisciplinary program. And so we have courses from military science, taught by General Huber, as well as business courses, communications courses, psychology, sociology, all those sorts of things that are very applicable to the everyday working world.
Yes, I completely agree with that. So you've been a member of MYP for a little while now. You're on the board. And so why did you begin this journey with MYP? Why did you become a member? And, how has your experience been so far?
So I have been familiar with Murfreesboro Young Professionals for several years because I've been a local here in Murfreesboro since 2005. And so I always heard about it and didn't really ever consider myself a professional. When you're starting out in your career, it's hard to really think of yourself in that way. At least it was for me. But as I grew in my career and I met so many people in this community, I started noticing that there was a lot of those folks, getting involved in Murfreesboro Young Professionals, and they really enjoyed it. And so had some friends in MYP who kind of showed me the value of it just by their own personal testimonies. And so I really started thinking about the vision statement for Murfreesboro Young Professionals is know, be known, and contribute. And I felt that really aligned with my personal goals and professional goals to get to know people in the community, build relationships, network professionally, but also do that while giving back. And that's my favorite part, I think, about MYP is that we do truly contribute. Not every organization that's kind of networking focused can really say that. And so that's one thing that I really value about MYP. And I have been on the board for a couple of years now. Well, 1 year on the board, and I'm going into my second year on the board now. And I can say it has been a tremendous experience with getting to know people on a deeper level than I would otherwise in just a regular networking setting. And so it gives you that opportunity to kind of dig deeper. One thing is that I have met some people that I would never have otherwise crossed paths with. People that, because I am in higher education, and that can sometimes feel kind of like a bubble. And so MYP has opened the door for me to meet people in all different walks of life, all different professions. And that has been probably the most valuable thing that I wasn't expecting.
Awesome. And you talked a little bit about MYP. We are a nonprofit. We give back to the community, and we have fun while we're doing it. But what is one cause that kind of sticks out to you that you're really passionate about?
Well, because I was involved in Murfreesboro Young Professionals, and I've kind of gotten the reputation at MTSU that I like to be involved in the community, that sort of thing. I was actually invited to be on the board, the planning committee, for something here in Murfreesboro that you might know about, Wine Around the Square. And that is put on by the St. Thomas Rutherford Foundation. And what that event benefits is the mobile mammography unit that takes free, if you can't afford it, takes free mammograms around the county, around Middle Tennessee actually, and make sure that women who wouldn't otherwise have access to mammograms make sure that they have that opportunity, at their own convenience. And so I've been super involved with the Wine Around the Square Committee the last 2 years, and that wouldn't have otherwise happened, I think, if Murfreesboro Young Professionals hadn't sort of given me some of that exposure to people in that area. And it's been super fulfilling because just a personal testimony here. My mother and grandmother were both breast cancer survivors. And I just think it's super important that women have that ability to get tested early and often, and early detection is the key. And so I've been really proud about my involvement with St. Thomas Rutherford Foundation.
Yeah, wow. I mean, what a worthy cause, definitely. And the fact that it's personal to you and your family, too. It's a really great way to give back. So we're going to go back again to the first question I asked you. You talked a little bit about goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's maybe something that you're working on right now, either personally or professionally?
Yeah. So as we all know, 2020 has been a crazy year.
What do you mean? Yeah, not at all.
Something about unprecedented times. So
we're also recording this with masks on.
Yeah.
So this year has been a really great year for reflection on appreciating what you've got, making sure that you're setting your priorities straight. And so that was one thing that really hit me over the summer. I was just telling Jessica as we were getting started here, it's so weird. Back in March, I really truly thought life would be back to normal by April or May, and here we are 8 months later or whatever it is. And so around midsummer, it started to hit me that I was saying yes to everything, saying no to nothing, and I was stretching myself way too thin professionally and personally. And just sort of the tension in our culture right now, this year, politically, socially, pandemic related, all of that stuff really was sort of a wake up call to remind me that I need to focus on my priorities and not say yes to everything. To cut some things out, because I can't be everything to everyone. I can't do everything. You only have so many resources, available to you. And so priorities is kind of my big thing for the next year. And one, I would say that my priority so far has been making sure that I'm investing in the relationships that are important to me personally. So I did cut some work things back and some career type things back, which I love to do, but at what cost, can I do those things? So I really kind of refocused and shifted some of my time resources to investing in those friendships, because those are the things that are going to last long term, and I don't want to neglect those things.
Definitely. Man, I've been there where you've got to learn to say no sometimes, so that way you're not spreading yourself too thin. And being in education, with all the restrictions that are going on, y'all have taken a brunt of it. So how has COVID-19 affected you professionally, or affected how you go about your job?
Yeah, that's a great question. So higher education it has a reputation for being kind of old school and stuck in our ways, and change is kind of hard for us. And so this has been a crazy year for the university, because never would I've dreamt that I would be working from home. That's just not how, the university works. And so we're very traditional in that way. And so not only are we, doing things totally differently, like working from home more and offering more online classes than ever before, but it's been really exciting for me to see a mindset shift in like faculty and administrators too. That this is a critical moment for us to adapt and evolve and consider doing things a little differently than normal. And so I was in a meeting with some faculty the other day. That it was a great meeting, because we talked about this very thing about are we going to go back to business as usual once this pandemic is done, or what are we going to learn from this? How are we going to change and grow from this? And a department chair who I've known for many years and respect quite a lot, she did make the comment to some faculty that were a little hesitant and resistant in making some long-term changes. She said, if we don't adapt and evolve, we will be left behind. And I think that the university, higher education as a whole, can learn a lot from the business world in that regard. That this is, a business. We are serving our students with a product of education, and I think that we forget that sometimes. I do love the traditional part of higher education, but we also do have to learn and grow, and so we can't be stagnant in any way. So that's something that I have seen a shift in with the faculty, that we've got to shake things up and meet people where they are and be more flexible with students, because life is not always perfect and neat and, comes as expected. Things can go crazy at any time, and we've got to be willing to adapt.
Danielle, thank you so much. I know that we are just very excited about you sharing all these things with higher education. And Kristen and I appreciate you being here today and sharing your story. So if people want to find you, or what you and NTSU are doing, where's the best place that they can find you at?
So yeah, you can go to our website, mtsu.edu/finishnow is where I direct folks who are non-traditional students, working adults, folks with families. You can start there at that website and kind of learn what we have to offer. And we're happy to talk with you one-on-one if you have specific questions. We're happy to review your prior credits. That's one thing that Kristen knows well, that we will use all those old credits, those prior credits, and even work experience, training, certifications. We can turn all that into college credits so that you can get your bachelor's degree as quickly and affordably as possible with still having that MTSU quality that we're proud of.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this today with us. I feel like I've taken a lot of nuggets, just reminding myself again to sometimes have my priorities back in a row, and then also moving forward being adaptable. So thank you so much for sharing with us, and I look forward to seeing you when I graduate.
Yeah, which is coming up.
It is.
Congratulations. So excited.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.